Welcome to our Veterans of the Cedar Valley program today. Our topic today is the 14th annual Remembering of 9/11. My guest today is Jennifer Laughlin Stevenson, and she is the owner of the Hicks program here in the Cedar Valley. And welcome to the program today.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor to share with you today.
Well, thank you. Well, we have a topic that hasn't been remembered too often since what is the year that we're celebrating now on 9/11?
14th
year
anniversary
anniversary
of an historic event that changed all of our lives forever.
Right.
And I don't think any of us who experienced it have ever been the same since that moment when we watched that unfold in front of us on the televisions that were here at home.
Right. Mm-hmm. And you know, this is kind of the first year in this area that we've celebrated this. And what prompted us to get something special going at this time and this year?
For me, I believe it's just been a movement of everything that we've gone through, not only in our past, but most importantly since 9/11, that day. Like I said, it changed us forever. And we came together as a nation, as a country, as those who just love each other. I mean, we had love pouring in from all over the world when that happened. And somewhere along the line, we lost that. And I think that's really starting to upset people. And instead of waiting for others to take actions, whether they were government entities having events or memorials, that we as civilians just started to take it on ourselves. To say not only thank you for those firefighters and those police officers here at home and those civilians that turned into heroes, but also to our military who have been fighting ever since that day for the war on terror, and how that has affected so many families, and so many families right here at home, as you know yourself. And that can't go unnoticed or forgotten. And for me, one of the most important things is our children. They need to know and learn these lessons because they are our future. And if we're not telling the story, they get lost in their video games and their electronics, and they need to be exposed to it.
And you know, it was one of the first major terrorist attacks in this country.
Yes.
We've had wars before, but this really was the first major terrorist attack.
And those of us that experienced that, I mean, the younger, my kids, my daughter was in second grade, I believe, you know, but for those children that I speak to about our military and the love for our country, they didn't know any different. They didn't experience that shock of actually having it here at home. I mean, we turned into a war zone right there.
Right. And we're seeing some of the events of that attack.
And what a shock to see our own country look like this. We weren't expecting a war on us. War has never been on our ground, although there had been attacks before, but of this magnitude and continuing on today with still the shootings and the acts of terror here in our country. And it all stems back to looking at those when those planes went crashing in. I mean, for me, knowing that first one is like, that has to be some sort of mistake. But then that doubt of how could that have been a mistake? And then it was solidified when the second plane hit. And then it continued on.
I think it's one of the things that I feel very strongly about is that we have a tendency in this country to forget things like this.
We get so distracted by material things and things that make us feel good that we forget why we're able to have such freedom to forget. And for me, you know, part of the evolution of myself, you know, being the daughter of a Vietnam veteran and hearing the stories of his not so welcoming home ever changed my life and all the other veterans that I've heard from. And I always wanted to do something. I was always told, thank you will never be enough, but it should always be said.
That's right.
And so when I created Hicks Place, the Outdoor Activity Center, I had a vision along with my husband of getting people back outdoors, reconnecting with Mother Nature and each other.
Right.
But then I had a vision to say thank you, because we are living our American dream, and I have not forgotten why we're able to do that. And so every year we put on a Military Family Appreciation Day to say thank you to the entire family, because throughout my life I have seen the family struggle, not only as a veteran or as service members and what they do for the job and the duty that they signed up for, but the duty for the family left here at home.
Right.
And so through that and the speaking at those events, my heart has continued on. And so I've kicked back up with my speaking and my keynote addresses, and it's just been a natural fit for me to speak to that heart, because I am so passionate about our country and our military and this day as well.
And that's kind of motivated you to get involved with Hicks at the same time.
Yes, yep, it's all flowed together because it was a purpose. When you're living your purpose and an intentional life, you just see things so much clearer, and wanting to share that with others, but never forget why I'm able to live like that in this beautiful country.
Well, and this now very shortly on 9/11, we're going to have another program at the Cedar Falls AMVETS. And so let's spend some time talking about that and what you're planning there, and involving the AMVETS. And
what an honor.
Right.
That working with them through saying thank you to them and working on projects with our local AMVETS, I've been able to make so many wonderful, not only connections, but friendships that'll last a lifetime. And through that, they've heard me speak at home. They've heard me speak to the heart of military and the love for this country. And they asked me to be their keynote speaker for the event on 9/11 at 7 p.m. and it's open to the public, where I get to share with everyone my heart and passion, why we need to remember, but why we need to act is most importantly.
Oh, yeah.
Not to give life to the terrorism and those acts, but give life to all of those that have served and sacrificed, whether they're military or our civilian heroes.
Right. Let's talk about the program that you're going to be a featured speaker at the event. It's going to be on 9/11 at the AMVETS. That's a Friday, I think,
Yes,
at
it
7
is.
o'clock. Talk about a little bit what the program is going to be and what people can expect.
Well, when I speak, my purpose is to inspire, but more importantly, to inspire to act. So we're going to recap the events of that day that we can all remember together.
Right.
But then we're going to take that information and the heartache that we had seen of civilians in this worn-torn environment on our own soil, and we are going to captivate that energy into let's be united again. You know, when they said, let's roll on that plane. When the first civilian heroes of war against terror took control over that plane and said, this is not going to go down on our watch. Once they realized what was going on, that power we need to continue. They started it for us. And as we spoke of earlier, it kind of got lost. We like to forget things that that make us feel bad. We get lost in material things, and we need to remember. And so I want to share that, but I also want to empower us as Americans, and we have a voice, and we have the freedom to use it, and we have the freedom to act. So that way we come together and we're united, and we're supporting each other instead of being so disconnected. We need to learn how to connect again.
I agree totally. I think it'll be a great event. We're going to have an honor guard there to present, and there's going to be lunch available and for those who come, and it is open to the public, and we're encouraging people to come. And so what your talk, and there's going to be the various the structure of the agenda. Can you talk a little bit about that and that sort of thing?
Yes, it's a well laid out agenda.
Right.
And we have, some veterans being a part of it as well.
Right.
With Richard Morgan being the MC.
Right.
Excuse me. And being home here and sharing in that from his experience in the war and his love for his community and his country.
Right.
So the passion everyone is going to feel that day when you're there, it's going to be felt, because we all care about what we're there for, what we're speaking about, and we're all united in the love for this country and each other, along with the national anthem being sung. I mean, you always have to take in that moment and the beauty.
Well, and also the veterans of foreign wars will be there,
Yes.
and they're all invited. The American Legion and Cedar Falls are invited. In fact, all military groups are invited.
Yes, so not only will it be a room full of veterans and military family of all wars and service types, but also it's a great opportunity for our community to come out, experience that, and always take that opportunity to say thank you.
Yeah. The date of the event will be September 11th, 2015, and it'll be at the AMVETS. That's Friday at 7 p.m. And so we'll remind our audience of that again before the program's over today.
Yes, I look forward to seeing everyone.
We have to take a break now, and we'll be back after this word.
Okay.
We all know that the Cedar Valley is a great place to live and work. And there are many individuals and organizations that are doing their part to improve the quality of life for everyone that calls this their home. On Serving the Valley, we sit down with these service organizations to learn more about different projects and events that need your support. We all need to do our part to help out our community. Tune into Serving the Valley to learn more.
From the world wars to Korea, Vietnam, to the Persian Gulf, Afghanistan, and Iraq. They saw what few others ever saw. But many veterans don't talk about their experiences. It may be because you've never asked. Learn what you can't always find in the history books. Interview a U.S. veteran in your community and submit their audio or video interview to the Library of Congress Veterans History Project. Or share their stories by contributing their original photos, letters, or military documents. Participate so that future generations may hear directly from those who served and better understand the realities of war. Download a field kit from our website and find out how you can play a role in preserving history.
Welcome back. We are in the process of discussing the 9/11 celebration that will take place on September 11th at the Cedar Falls AMVET post number 49. I'd like to ask you to kind of review some events. Not only at the meeting, but some of the events of the attack.
Yes.
And we'll run some visuals here so that we can discuss those and express it. Okay?
Oh, I don't know if you remember seeing that moment when it collapsed. And the terror that everyone felt, I can't imagine how they felt there experiencing it, but watching it live on television was ever changing. And it's one of those things that we need to keep sharing about, to remember and not get lost in ourselves to forget. Because I'll tell you, there are families that will never forget because they have members that aren't with them any longer because of it. And to honor them is a main point of why I speak and what I do for the military, or for those lives lost not only from our service members, but from these attacks here at home that continue today. Endless pictures and faces that should never be forgotten, and they will not be forgotten if we continue to talk about that. And that's the importance of the legacy.
And I think that's the important thing of what you're trying to do on September 11th.
On September 11th, is remembering the legacy of those that were there and survived and are continuing on every day. And for those family members that have lost loved ones, that heartache will never go away, but we need to celebrate their lives. And if we quit talking about it and if we quit sharing about it, it will be lost. And as long as I'm alive, I'm going to do my part. And I hope I inspire others to continue to do theirs just like you have.
Right. Well, thank you.
To see the terror.
Right. Now, will there be some visuals at the presentation?
Yes, there will.
Okay.
Yep, I have a slideshow presentation that has some visuals to really connect us all together to those moments. And if there's anyone in the room, if they bring their children that weren't there at those moments to see it, they've seen the pictures. But I want to create an environment where we remember and an energy where we act, that we continue to remember, and we say thank you, and we host events that get bigger and stronger as we love our country, whether it looks like a war zone or if in time it's healed. Where we have shots of those moments of them gathering together, hugging each other, the American flag, those colors are beautiful. And they will be displayed the day of that event as well, as always. But bringing us all together. And
remembering what terrorism really is.
We can't forget.
We
can't get lost in ourselves and the material things and life. We should be joyous. But we should remember why we're able to have such joy.
Let's talk a little bit about the agenda for the meeting.
Yes.
We want folks to come and
it will be on
reminded.
September 11th.
Right. And Richard Morgan is going to welcome us to the program.
Yes, he is.
And then the AMVET Honor Guard will be presenting colors, and it'll be very patriotic.
They do a beautiful job.
Right. And Rhonda Morgan, of course, will sing the national anthem, and everyone knows the Morgan family because Mike was the commander the last year.
They are a wonderful family and friends.
Right.
And they're great people. I mean, the sense everyone will get when they're there at this event together is coming together and remembering, but that connection with each other so we don't forget. It's going to be an experience that I hope everyone comes to attend.
And our post commander will give the Pledge of Allegiance, and so it'll be a very military type of presentation.
It will.
Yeah.
If you don't leave there feeling American, we need to do it all over again.
Right. Angelo Smith, who is well known in the community, will be giving the prayer, and also the national president, Kathy Burning, is going to give a poem.
Just have a wonderful lineup.
Right.
I just want people to come and experience it together and to see what there is to offer and how we can stay united. I mean, it is to see the colors and to hear the national anthem. And
then Jennifer Laughlin Stevenson will be giving the presentation.
I can't wait to share with everyone.
I bet you can't.
I can't. I look forward to it. It's just a passion and an energy that I have that I'm meant to serve, and I look forward to sharing in that and speaking with everyone.
Well, you do a great job, and I'm looking forward to that too. And then there will be a closing ceremony, and that's by Richard Morgan, another Morgan member, and So, and then after that will be food.
Yes.
The concessions.
Now it's Iowa, so we can't have any event without food.
Right.
So we feed you.
Right. Yeah.
So come, remember,
Right.
take those moments and take that energy to do something, and then gather and chat with everyone and say hello. And there's not a better way to do it than food.
Well, one of the things that I'm real happy about is to see us finally remember 9/11.
Yes.
You know, I've been concerned over the 14 years now.
Yeah.
I've been concerned that we kind of forget about those events like that.
Every time since 9/11, I see the American flag, I cannot help but to think about it. As I left home and drove to work at the hospital I was working at that day, that evening, there was a couple hanging the flag over the bridge on my way into Waterloo. Tears just streamed over me.
Right.
I mean, it was beautiful and it was uniting. And there's so much power behind the flag, and as you saw throughout the scroll of those videos, you saw a worn, tattered flag that had been flown, that actually was flown at the towers. And there's so much power and meaning behind that flag, because that's what those families feel like. That's what our soldiers feel like when they come home. They're worn and tattered, and it's up to us to mend that. And we need to do more of that, and this remembrance is a step towards it.
That's right. Well, we have a couple minutes left, but I'd like to again remind people of the date and time and that sort of thing. And so, it's open to the public.
Yes.
It's going to be September 11th, 2015, at the MVET post in Cedar Falls. And I think it'll be a program, in fact, I know it'll be a program that people will enjoy coming.
It's going to be a beautiful remembrance.
Right.
And it's going to be beautiful because they're all going to come, and we're going to remember together.
And maybe we can motivate people to do it annually.
Yes. Better, it's a date.
That's great.
Yes.
Because we don't want to forget.
Never should we forget. That's the legacy
That's
and the
right.
power of it.
Right.
And we need to teach our youth and sharing that with them.
Well, we have just a minute left, but thank you very much for being here today.
It's such an honor. Thank you for allowing me to share and spend this time with you and all the viewers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I will never forget that day.
No.
And so
Nor will I.
I spent a year in Korea, so I kind of have a feeling for those kinds of things.
Yes.
So
And we all should.
You're right.
And
That's right.
we'll share in it together.
Okay. Thank you for being on today.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
You bet. Thank you for joining us today. We'll be back with another program for the veterans of the Cedar Valley.